Coach's Corner is your source. Baseball, football, soccer, and hoops. The Coach's Corner has the scoop. It's the Coach's Corner with Andy.
Covering Tri-State sports, it's the Coach's Corner with Andy on 92.1 The GOAT.
It's the Coach's Corner.
Hey, I'm Andy with Coach's Corner. I got Grant Smith back here with me. Grant, you're my resident Ravens expert, I would probably call you.
Sweet.
It wasn't too bad of a game last night, right?
No, it
Ravens
was not.
Eagles.
I was there. It was the
Oh,
first
that's right.
time.
You did go. And today's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, my brother-in-law took me there for my birthday, and first time ever tailgating. I'm actually my second Ravens game, 16 years apart. My first one was when I was 16, and now I just turned 32, and it was great. It was a good game. I ain't gonna lie.
I remember you talking about that one of the last times we spoke. You said you were going. I think it was at the beginning of the season. Yeah. Cool. I'm glad you had a good time. Actually, so I'm a Commanders fan, but I went to Ravens Stadium for when they were the Redskins. It was Redskins-Ravens. And the first time I went was freezing cold as well. So
we probably went to the same game because I remember that game. I went to a Ravens-Redskins game. That was the game I actually went to when I was 16.
Dude, it was cold.
So it was like 2000, 2008, 2009.
Yeah, it was back. It was way back. Yeah. Going to a Ravens game as the opposite team's a fan of the opposite team, then probably wasn't the greatest idea.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I haven't been in a while, so I don't know how it is. But it also depends on the person too. But anyways, nonetheless, the Ravens did fall last night. They lost to the Eagles. The Eagles are a tough team, though. I mean, their defense is clicking right now. Their offense is doing just enough. Well, Saquon Barkley is basically doing everything for them, but the rest of their offensive weapons are doing just enough. Just for an example, last night Jalen Hurts only had 11 completions for 118 yards.
For 16.
Yeah, something like that. 118 yards, a touchdown. I mean, Barkley had another 100-yard rushing game and a score, but the defense was really the story of the game for the Eagles. The Ravens, were better defensively than I think a lot of people expected them to be. The Ravens are at 8-5 now. The Eagles are moving to 10-2. I think the Eagles pretty much secured their spot in the playoffs. I would probably say as a top 2 seed. I don't think anybody's really going to catch them at that 10-2 record. They lead the NFC East. The Ravens, on the other hand, they're sitting at number 6, the number 6 seed, and it's you kind of start to question. There's teams knocking on the doors of the playoffs, like the Colts, the Dolphins, like even the Bengals at this point. The Bengals are only a couple games out of, I think let me look here at my papers here. So
it did help that they lost to the Steelers last night or yesterday.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, the Broncos are right now have the 7th seed in the AFC at 7-5, and the Bengals are only 4-8. If the Broncos lose tonight, which I don't think they will, but if the Broncos lose tonight, that who knows what could happen. This is my favorite time of year with football because it's especially when it's like this, when there's so many teams that are doing well, and
they're hitting the stride when they need to.
Yeah, anybody can, and that's what it's all about. Yes, playing well over the whole season's great, but you got to play well when it matters the most. So let's get to the reasons of the Ravens' woes lately. I think we can both agree it's probably due to a certain kicker.
Unfortunately,
not coming through in the clutch. But do you think Lamar's a little bit to blame as well for this, especially for this last game? He seemed like he was holding back at times.
I think so, personally. I mean, like I said before, football is a team. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a team sport. And there's all different aspects and different phases of the sport. Like I said, you got special teams, you got, offense, defense, you name it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't believe that only one player is at fault. I mean, being at the game, Lamar overthrew a couple wide open receivers, made some awesome passes. Some of our receivers dropped the ball. But, like you said, kicking, man, like, out of all the games that we've lost, I feel like, and I'm not trying to point the finger here because it does go, one good play on defense and it changes the whole entire perspective of the game. One big drive on offense and we're cooking. You know what I mean? But when we, sputter or, and die out, getting closer to the red zone or not even getting there and having to kick these 50-yard field goals, and our kicker isn't who he once was. He's still an NFL kicker. He's doing better than a lot of other kickers, but
Yeah.
and they're still in the NFL. So, but he's
Yeah.
lost us a lot of games. I ain't gonna lie. There's been games that we should have won, and he's lost them.
Yeah, I think it doesn't help as well that he is who he is. He's got everybody knows who Justin Tucker is, and
Yeah.
the fact that everybody knows who he is and he's a kicker is something. So he like you said, an amazing NFL kicker.
Yeah.
But like you're saying, for example, last night the Ravens lost by 5 points.
Yeah.
Tucker missed 2 field goals, which would total 6 and an extra point. So
Yeah.
he missed there's a total of 7 points off the board. When you lose
Yeah.
by 5, even if you would have made a field goal,
Mhm.
or I'm sorry, even if you would have made both field goals and missed the extra point still, we would be having a totally different conversation right now.
Yeah, it's
rather
the
than-
same thing happened with the Steelers. Like
Yeah.
that Steelers game, we should have won, but he missed those field goals and we lost.
Yeah. To give everybody kind of an idea, if you're not on this Justin Tucker train of what's going on, he's missed 10 attempts in total, which were five were field goals, which are you're not considered an extra point,
Yeah.
and 2 actual extra points. And like we said, he used to be one of the deadliest weapons in the league. And you don't
Yeah.
say that about a kicker. I think the last time anybody's really said that about a kicker was maybe Mike, or no, not Mike Vanderjack was a pretty decent kicker. He had a leg
Matt
on him.
Stover was really good.
Stover, and who was the Raiders kicker? That was
Janikowski,
Sebastian Janikowski.
Yeah.
That dude had a leg on him.
or even the dude that went from the Patriots and I forget his name. He won the Super Bowl.
Vinatieri.
Yeah, he went from the Patriots.
Yeah.
Did amazing. Then he had that one down year. They cut him. Went to the Colts. Resurrected his career.
Mm-hmm.
And is a Hall of Famer. I don't think Justin Tucker makes it the rest of this week. Personally, I don't want him to have a backsliding career, and it just not necessarily ruins what he's done, but it'll definitely put a blemish on it. I would love to see him go elsewhere and actually do well.
Yeah.
I wish he'd do well for us, but whatever.
I mean, you also start to wonder, like we've talked about before, any sport is just as much mental as it is physical. I feel like there's some kind of mental block he's got going on, whether it's, just because he missed, when he started missing those field goals, people started to question it. Did that get to him? Is something else going on? And we'll never know because it's his personal life and that's not our business to get into unless he makes it public. But you can just see it on his face. They did a shot last night where he missed the field goal. It was actually a funny story. So we were watching the game, and we were putting some Christmas stuff up last night, my wife and me and the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the game on in the background, and I also had I was currently looking at my phone. I was checking my fantasy football stats, and the phone always comes through with the result before you see it on the TV.
Yeah.
So Justin Tucker was lining up for a kick, and as he was lining up, it said Justin Tucker pushes kick to the right, left, whatever. I don't know. But he missed it. And I looked at Casey, my wife, and I was like, I bet you money he misses his field goal right here. And she's like, why? Because he's missed so many. And I'm like, yeah, sure, that's why. So he kicks it, and then it goes, and she goes, oh, you were right. And I was like, I can't lie to you. I saw it happen. And she was like, and she gave me this look. But and you could just see it afterwards when he made that kick. The camera cut, how the camera always cuts to the field goal kicker after he makes it or misses it.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, there's no emotion on the kicker's face. They're just like, next time. But man, you could just see the frustration on his face.
Mm-hmm.
He's wearing it on his, I feel like that's half the problem. He's showing the world that, he's human. And it's getting to him mentally. And then he just gets out there and when you think about it, most of the time you'll mess it up if you think about it too much.
Yeah, I feel like when you're at the top of your game and you're one of, at the end of the day, when you're one of the best, the weight of the world does kind of feel on your shoulders. Now, I was never one of the best in the world or anything like that, but I did win 2 national championships in college, and I definitely felt the weight and the pressure to be borderline perfect. You know, I felt the pressure every single time I stepped foot in the circle as a shot putter. And, you know, I was always there to compete, do what I need to do. You know what I mean? And when you do have that very first blemish, it's like, man, okay, you try to put it on the back burner, but it really is tough because sometimes we do get into this perfection mode where we have to be perfect on every single thing, and we're very meticulous, and we don't give ourselves enough wiggle room to make mistakes and do that. You know what I mean? So it is tough from an athlete's perspective to stay at that level and not allow outside pressure, inside pressure, the mentality to mess with you. So I mean, I feel for him, man. I do.
Yeah, I do
but
feel
it's costing
bad.
us games. So
well, like your everyday run of the mill Ravens fan that, you know, is into football but isn't like super into the sport and knows the team, knows enough to know what the record is and enjoys watching it. It doesn't help that they probably look at the kicker position, which is probably like 85% of the fan base. It just, you know, likes the Ravens to like the Ravens. You look at the kicker position and you think, oh, that's the easy position. They don't have to do anything.
I love
It's
college game day that Pat McAfee does where they do the kick and the field goal, the 30-yard field goal. I love it because so many people trash talk kickers, and
it's not easy.
It is not. Like, I was playing flag football for a little bit, and nobody could kick the field goal, so I'm like, I'll do it. I used to do it when I was in high school, whatever. I played soccer a little bit. Now, I mean, I can't play soccer now. I'm 330 pounds. Like, soccer's not meant for me. But, you know, I went out and was kicking field goals off a tee, and, you know, I got 20 yards down packed. I moved it back to 30, got to 35. Once I started pushing 40 yards, you know, I'm getting older, so my body hurt, you know, and you know, whatever. It is tough, you know, foot placement, how you strike the ball, how you follow through, how the person holds it, you know, and then on top of that, you got to think like, okay, I'm supposed to worry on this ball, but now I have 11 guys trying to come at me.
Yeah, and they're all coming for you.
Yeah,
like that's a lot, and they're all in one cramped area coming for you. It's not like they're spread out over the field and you broke away from a tackle and they're all running to you. Like, they're in front of you, and not to mention the fact that a lot of the times when kickers get into the game, it's a big pressure moment, like you said. You know, it could win the game. You know, a lot of the times when you're making that drive at the end of the game, you're getting in field goal range, so your kicker can try to make the field goal, and it's a very clutch position that a lot of people, I feel like, undervalue. Now, I'm not talking about your like professional analysts, stuff like that. They obviously understand the importance of a kicker, and like fans like you and I that are into football understand the importance of a kicker. You know, we've witnessed highs of a kicker and we've witnessed the lows. I've been to back when they were the Redskins. I don't know if I talked to you about this or not. It was a Redskins Dallas game, and it was for a playoff spot, and it was Vanderjack actually, and he, you know, he got his kick blocked, and you know, that's a tough thing to overcome. And I don't remember what his career looked like after that play. That might have been his last year. I don't know, but you know, it's things like that, you know, in those high pressure situations. And imagine Vinatieri in the Super Bowl. Like, what if he wouldn't have made those kicks? He wouldn't be who he is today. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the same goes for other big positions like quarterback. It's just different situations. Yeah. I would say quarterback and kicker are probably the two most mentally challenging positions in football.
Yeah, I mean, the game kind of relies on your success and your failures. And I see kickers as like, you know, in basketball, you know, there's 10 seconds left. You're down by 1, you're down by 2, and you need to make a buzzer beater. Yep. I mean, the pressure is immense. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And not to mention, go ahead. Not to mention, it also relies on your placeholder. Yeah. If they don't hold the ball right, or they don't take the snap correctly.
Didn't that happen with the Dolphins? Like a big kick that what's that? What's that movie that
Ace Ventura, Laces Out. Exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it makes all the difference in the world now. I mean, like you say, they're professionals, and 9 times out of 10, everything's going to go right. But you know, you see those plays, and like you said, it's team aspect, because if the placeholder doesn't get the ball right, is that the snapper's fault?
Yeah. Oh my
You know
goodness.
what I mean?
You want to talk about a pressure position? Imagine being the placeholder and
I
you mess
know.
up the kicker.
Yeah.
Like that. I feel like the placeholders, at least they used to be the punter or like the backup quarterback.
Yeah.
And then now
It's usually I think it depends on who's on the team.
Yeah.
I remember you mentioned McAfee. McAfee used to hold the ball for
Yeah.
field goals.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of backup quarterbacks, like third stringers, will hold the ball.
Could you imagine being a third string quarterback where you like barely get any practice time, and the only thing you really practice is like catch it, boom, put it down, and you mess up?
Yep. Especially for those teams that are going to be in those situations, like your your Patriots when they won those Super Bowls with Vinatieri, or even when who was the Chiefs kicker that made a lot of clutch field goals, that got all that flack for his graduation speech.
I don't even remember.
Harrison Butker.
Oh, yeah.
He was a really clutch field goal kicker. When I don't know if he's playing currently or not.
I think he still is. I think he was injured, if I remember correctly.
So
but I'm pretty sure he's still the Chiefs kicker.
Yeah, but it's like things like that. I mean, your teammates help make you look good. I wouldn't want to be the long snapper either, because that's a lot of pressure too. That's a big pressure situation.
Yeah.
It's definitely a waterfall effect, and there's lots of factors that go into it. So yeah, like you said, I don't think it's all Justin Tucker, but I think there is something mentally. There's a mental block some kind going on. It's kind of like when you get in a slump playing baseball. It's just when you're in a slump playing baseball, you got a whole season to get out of it, and it's not uncommon to go in a slump.
Yeah.
But when you slump as a field goal kicker, it's like, I mean, that's your only job, dude. Why can't you make the field goal?
Yeah, but I feel like baseball's a little bit different though. Like baseball, I feel like baseball, in my mind, is a game of failure. Like
it is.
When you think about the batting percentages, like when people are batting like .25, like that's 25%.
Yeah.
Like that's not. I wasn't the most studious person, but I know for a fact that 25% ain't good.
That's not a lot.
But in baseball, you're like, you're all right. You start hitting 300, 400. It's like that's still an F, man.
It's like going back to those college days. Oh, a D's passing, perfect.
Yeah. Hey, they give me my credits, cool.
Exactly.
Whatever.
As long as I get them, it doesn't matter how you got there.
Now, I love the post game interview that Lamar had. I watched it today, and I love the fact that he was fired up, because I feel like that's what we need. Like I feel like Lamar is changing and adapting as a quarterback and growing into his own as a quarterback, and I love it. Yeah. And I think he's adding dimensions to his game. But lately, I feel like he's taking away the main thing that gives Lamar the success, and that's running the ball. And he talked about his mom. He's like, my mom cursed me out, like, right after the game. Like, you have plenty of plays where you could have had
so many opportunities,
15, 20 yards. And here he takes a 40-yard run down towards the end zone with like 20 seconds left. Why? Because he ran and he's the best athlete on the field. Yeah. Like, do that. Like, if you don't have green grass, throw it away, live to fight another day. If you got green grass, I don't care if somebody's open 50 yards down the field, take the yards given to you.
Right.
That's a given.
It's Lamar running the ball. It's not like, Kirk Cousins is. Kirk Cousins is a decent runner when he gets open into space. Not the fastest person in the world, but he can make make a run happen. But you're not going to expect him to make that play like you're going to make like Lamar.
Tom Brady, where he's running the field looking like somebody's uncle at a cookout.
Right. Now, like that big run you said that Lamar had at the end of the game, that was a big chunk of his 79 rushing yards that he did have.
It was 40 yards right at the very end of the game.
There was so many opportunities he could have took off, and he would have, it could be a totally different game. He still threw for 237 yards, had 2 touchdowns. He still had a great game.
No interceptions, too. So, I mean, from a statistical standpoint, he played his role.
Yeah.
He's minimizing mistakes. He's, not turning the ball over like he used to. Mm-hmm. He's not fumbling the ball. Well, okay, he's not giving up fumbles. Yeah. He's fumbled many snaps this season, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's trying to read the defense as the ball's trying to come to him. He's not seeing it into his hands, but
yeah.
That's new.
Well, I mean, I think they're still in the playoff hunt. They're at the numbers, or not in the hunt. They're actually in the talk. They're number 60, like you said.
Yeah.
What'll happen? Who knows? The Denver Broncos game will play a big factor tonight. So if
Yeah.
the Broncos win, they'll tie. They'll have the same record. I don't know. I think Baltimore would stay put because I think
We had the
Denver
tiebreaker
has.
there because we beat them.
Yeah, they beat Baltimore, beat Denver, so they'll have tiebreak. So I don't think the seeding will change for Baltimore whether Denver loses or wins tonight, obviously. But the next 5 weeks are going to play a big factor. I mean,
Yeah.
beginning of the season, a lot of people were picking the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl and to possibly win the Super Bowl. Do you think they're still in that position?
I mean, as a Ravens fan, I feel like you always try to
Well,
feel
yeah.
like they're in that position.
Look at it from a different
You know,
fan's perspective. Yeah,
From a different fan's perspective, probably not. I do believe that the Ravens can definitely mess up someone's playoff hopes in Super Bowl
Yeah.
III, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that the Ravens are probably one of the better teams on paper to be able to do that, for sure. From the AFC standpoint, I mean, the Bills are on a roll. Right now, I feel like the Bills are the favorite in the AFC, without a doubt.
The Chiefs barely won Friday.
Chiefs are limping their way through the season.
Man, when O'Connell and they snapped that ball on it, and O'Connell wasn't paying attention, the Raiders quarterback. Man, I was so ready for the Raiders to win.
Yeah, me too.
I was oh god.
No matter
God, it
what,
broke
you
my
always want to
heart.
root for the underdog. Like I don't care. Like I'll root for the underdog unless they're playing the Ravens. Then I got to go with my Ravens. But
It just broke. I'm not even a Raiders fan, and it broke my heart. And and they cut to Pat Mahomes on the sideline after that happened.
he was kind of like, "Wait, what happened?"
His face he had like this speechless look on his face. Like,
Did we
really just win the game?
have you? My wife made a comment the other day about Pat Mahomes and how he just looks tired.
He does. He always looks tired.
Like before, like he didn't look, but now he kind of looks like me sometimes when I'm coming in here on a 12-hour day with all these hours. Where like I get home and and the next morning I've got bags in my eyes. My wife asked me one night, she goes, "What happened to your eyes?" Like I apparently beat myself up in my sleep, and I don't feel like I got enough sleep. And I'll just be like, what do they call raccoon eyes? Is that what they call it? Where you like, sleep and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man, he looks rough.
Yeah, I mean, age will get to you eventually. I mean, he's not the oldest in the league, the oldest quarterback in the league, but he's not the youngest either. So
yeah,
maybe things are changing, times are changing, teams are changing.
Yeah,
I definitely don't think the Chiefs should be 11-1, but they are, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I agree. The Bills are probably I would say Bills are the favorite, AFC wise. But they just won the AFC East last night. Now, granted, that division is a trash heap right now, but
yeah,
because you got the Jets,
it's like
Patriots,
the NFC East back a couple years ago.
Yeah, right.
Where all the teams were terrible. You make the playoffs and you're like 4 games under 500.
Yep.
Like,
Washington. I think one of those years Washington made the playoffs as like a 8-9 team or something like that.
Yeah.
Some kind of crazy record, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out for the Ravens. I also think when you got Derrick Henry running the ball for you, more needs to happen than 80 some yards and no scores. Like you gotta capitalize on that. The dude is I understand defenses are gonna prepare for that and play for that, but when
you gotta keep feeding him.
Yeah, just keep going. I mean, no matter if they're preparing for it or not, the dude is, 6. What is he? 6'4", 250.
Yeah, he's
250.
He's a tight end playing running back.
It's gonna he's gonna get through. Something's gonna happen. You just got to keep going. Yeah, I think they can pull it together. I had him as a Super Bowl favorite to get to the Super Bowl at the beginning of the season. I think they could still get there. I think the chances are slimmer. I definitely don't see him winning the big ones, but
I don't know. I don't even think home field advantage is even a thing for the Ravens. Honestly, like, I feel like it's better for us to play on the road.
Maybe. What if they do get there, and there's 15 seconds left in the Super Bowl, and it's down to Justin Tucker to kick the winning field goal?
No, I'd be afraid.
We're definitely talking the next day. That's for sure.
I'm turning. I ain't gonna lie. I'm turning the TV off. I'm like, nope.
I'm getting on DraftKings, and I'm taking the bet that he misses it. That's what I'm doing.
Put $100 down on it. That's crazy. Yeah. No. Oh man. that I hope that doesn't happen.
We'll see.
That,
We'll have to wait and see.
or it could happen, and then now he's back to clutch Justin
Maybe.
Tucker
Or not necessarily doesn't have to be in the Super Bowl, just to maybe advance in
to
the
get
playoffs.
us to the Super Bowl.
Maybe to, yeah, well.
You could imagine that. You're in a slump, and then you nail one that means more than all the ones that you ever missed all season, and that one got you to the Super Bowl.
And if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be him.
I'm on cloud 9. I'm at the Super Bowl. Hey, let's go. I'm back, baby. Like I'm kicking 66-yard field goals now. For sure.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens with the Ravens here. Like we said, they're 8-5 now. Still in the playoff picture.
Yep.
We'll see how things work out over the next 5 weeks with the Ravens, and hopefully it doesn't come down to Justin Tucker having to make a field goal for you.
Yeah, I hope not.
If you'd like to be featured on the Coach's Corner with Andy, email coach at 921thegoat.com.